Good morning and warm welcome to all the participants of this course. Today we have the pleasure of having Dr. Arusa Khalil with us. Ma'am is a professor in the Division of Fruit Sciences. And today the topic of deliberation chosen by our esteemed guest is potential of underutilized fruit crops for livelihood security in North Western Himalayas. Ma'am, you're audible, visible, and your presentation is also visible. Please get started.
Um, Thank you so much. First of all, I'd like to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to be a part of this training program. Dear and respected participants, a very good morning to all of you. I'm Dr. Arusa, and today I'm here to deliver on the topic potential of underutilized fruit crops for livelihood security in the Northwestern Himalayas. So before I move on with my presentation, let's first of all understand that what is the need to know the potential of these underutilized fruit crops. As you all might be knowing that India is the second most populous country in the world. So we have to feed our increasing population, and to achieve this food security, we need to be alert. We have to look for the alternatives, how we are going to feed this increasing population. And because if we have to feed our population, we need to increase our food production. Increasing the food production means more inputs, means a more environmental concern. Second most important thing is that we know that most of our fruit crops, they are actually vulnerable to the effects of the climate change, and we need to look for some alternatives where we can find the climate resilience. So and most importantly, we all know that we have almost eaten all the major fruit crops, but we are less aware about the lesser known fruit crops that we call as minor or underutilized fruit crops that have the huge potential, huge nutritional potential. So all these reasons are pointing towards the need to focus on some localized traditional diversity. So this presentation is all about to know what are these underutilized crops, what is their potential, how we can, what are the strategical points that we can take up to increase their production, to increase the market value. So before we move on, let us first of all understand that what are these underutilized fruit crops. These underutilized fruit crops are actually the underexploited fruit crops, the minor fruit crops, but they have the huge potential to contribute to the food security, income generation, and the nutrition. So first of all, we need to understand that what should be the characteristics that we can have in the underutilized fruit crops. We know that these underutilized fruit crops, these are locally abundant, but they are restricted in some geographical dispersion. They have the huge value, but we are lacking in scientific knowledge about their production package and production. What are the scientific ways of producing such underutilized fruit crops? And their current use is also limited because the people are not aware about their economic potential. So if we talk about G&K, the major underutilized fruit crops include pomegranate, kiwi fruit, quince, grapes, other nut crops including hazelnut, chestnut, pistachio nut, pecan nut. It also includes persimmon, fig, and locust. So it is not that the underutilized fruit crops will be accessible to the poor people only. All the people in terms of the diet, income, and better maintenance should get benefited from these underutilized fruit crops. So what is the reason that these underutilized fruit crops are not getting popular? The main reason being that we have unawareness about the economic potential. The quality planting material is not available. We have a lack of technology, how to propagate them, how to fertilize them, how to harvest them, how to market them. And we also don't have technology, how to go for their processing, how to value add them. So these are some of the underutilized fruit crops grown in J&K. First one is the quince, then is persimmon, kiwi fruit, locust, grapes, pecan nut, berries, fig, pomegranate. And this is actually the contribution from the Division of Fruit Sciences, course Kashmir. In some of the underutilized fruit crops, we have made some of the local selections that are being grown. We have selected these selections from some particular districts of the valley. So we have selections from Queens, we have selections from Locard, but for other underutilized fruit crops like persimmon, kiwi fruit, and grape, we have started introducing some of the improved varieties from other states of India. So similarly, we have some selections from chestnut, pecan nut, hazelnut, and so far as blueberry and pomegranate is concerned, we have also procured some of these varieties from outside. So this table is actually showing the production scenario of these underutilized fruit crops. And we can see that the maximum productivity we have of grapes. And for other underutilized fruit and nut crops, the productivity is very less. So this table is actually showing the nutritional value of different underutilized or minor crops. And from this table, we can infer that, yes, definitely this kiwi fruit and this fig, these are richest source of calcium, magnesium, vitamin C, and even so far as the beta carotene is concerned, the persimmon, fig, and blueberry, they are excelling in the beta carotenoid content. And in this table, we have tried to compare the nutrient value of apple and quince. And from this table, we can see that some of the major vitamins we can see have the highest concentration in quince than in apple. So let us see that. So what is actually the importance of these underutilized fruit crops? And what we can say that these underutilized fruit crops, they are easy to propagate, and they are naturally resilient to various effects of the climate change. A number of value-added products have been obtained from such underutilized fruit crops. As was depicted in the tables, that they have the highest content of vitamins and minerals. They are also helping us to utilize some of the wastelands where other major fruit crops cannot be grown. Most of the underutilized nut crops, particularly the chestnut, we can grow chestnut in the wastelands. And most of the wild forms of underutilized crops, for example, we have wild peach, we have, or wild grape, we have, they are naturally resistant to various biotic and abiotic stresses. So let us see one by one that we will be picking some of the important traits of these underutilized crops, and I'll be starting with the quince. As you all might be knowing that quince is actually also being used as an ornamental plant. This is being used as a rootstock for pear. This is actually a waterlogging resistant rootstock. Other value-added products can be made out of this quince. We can make jam. This is also helping us to combat the ill effects of the cold. The leaves have the anti-cancerous properties. Similarly, with the pomegranate, it is actually being considered as a priority crop for conservation, because this is the crop that has, that is known for its adaptability and has a good market value. So coming to the processed products of the pomegranate, we have pomegranate juice that is used to combat many gastric problems, and many concentrates are being also made from this pomegranate. And then we have also the wild sour pomegranate. This pomegranate, the wild form is actually resistant to various diseases and pests. That's also drought tolerant. And this wild pomegranate is also used to make the anardana. And this anardana is also actually a souring agent in the chutneys. Other than that, this wild sour pomegranate has many medicinal properties. As I was discussing about this wild peach is actually resistant to the peach leaf curl, which actually the cultivated ones is actually having a menace of this peach leaf curl, but the wild one is resistant to the peach leaf curl, and it's also late ripening. So, we what we can do, the wild form of this underutilized fruit crops can also be put in the breeding programs. We can put such underutilized crops. Similarly, for the bitter almond also, bitter almond is also tolerant to many diseases. So, similarly, we can now talk about the apricot. We know that apricot is the richest source of vitamin A that can help us to prevent the night blindness. The cultivated one is having the highest TSS and the pectin, but the wild apricot is actually having the high TSS and is also used for making chutneys and jams. The chopped sweet kernels of the wild apricot are also, used traditionally and is added to the kheer. And the wild apricot fruits are sun-dried into chalori that's used as a souring agent in various dishes. Other than that, we are also using these wild apricot seedlings as a valuable rootstocks. And we have one, we call that as a chulli oil that is being actually, this oil is being extracted from the kernels and is used for cooking and has many medicinal properties. Is particularly used to relieve the arthritis pain. As Also we have fig, and we have discussed about this fig in the previous table, that this fig has a rich content of calcium. This is also energy rich. It is high in fiber. It is also used for making different jams. Similarly, we have grapes. If I talk about the grapes, the main advantage of grapes growing in Kashmir is that the grape is actually a lead bloomer here. It's actually it is having a bloom in the month of May, and this way it's escaping the spring frost, which actually is a problem for other major fruit crops grown in Kashmir. So that way we can take grape as a crop for diversification. Other than that, we know there are various medicinal properties of grape, particularly due to the presence of the resveratrol, and this resveratrol is also good for heart. It's for cancer, and and this grape can also be used for different purposes. We can use as a table grape or for making raisins or the juices. And the wild form of grape is also having a drought and disease tolerance. And similarly, for strawberry, it has been known that this crop is actually slowing down the aging process. Other than that, it has a rich source for vitamin C. And so is true with olive. Olive is being grown here and are particularly grown in the Uri area of Kashmir. And as we all know that this is the crop which is known for its healthy oil. This oil is good for most of the health ailments, and this is also giving protection against cancer. And one more crop that has come into the underutilized category is the locust. And this crop is actually helpful in relieving the vomiting and thirst. Other than that, this is also a good source of nutrients like calcium, phosphorus. And this crop has around 60% edible pulp, and it is making this crop a valuable source for processing and for other consumptions. About raspberry or other berries, we all know that they have the high antioxidant content known to combat various diseases, and so is true with the raspberries. And the kiwi fruit. Again, this kiwi fruit is an important crop that can be put into the diversification scheme. The reason being, first, the same one that it's also a late bloomer, similar to that of grape. And second one, that this is the last, fruit that is getting harvested during the end of the year. It's being harvested from the last week of October till November. So by the time farmer is not having any other crop for remuneration, he can go for this crop and earn some money. Other than that, this is a crop which is rich in calcium, and this is the crop which is about with 90% of the fruit is edible. So is the persimmon. Various introductions have been made, both for the astringent and the non-astringent one. The astringent one is the hachia, and the non-astringent one is the frio. And this is known to give relief against the hiccups, cough, and the breathing difficulties. And other than the main crops, other than the main fruit crops, we have also some underutilized nuts. These are the nuts which we can put in the diversification scheme. So, so far as these underutilized nuts are concerned, we know that 70% of the fatty acids present in these underutilized nuts are unsaturated fatty acids. So, this is helping actually in decreasing the cholesterol levels. And when we consume these nuts with the carbohydrate-rich food, it's known that it is going to counteract the type 2 diabetes. So here we have tried to give a brief, overview about the different protein, fat, mineral, fiber, carbohydrate content so far as these underutilized nut crops are concerned. Here we can see that the pecan is actually having the highest fat content of 71%. That is exceeding the main major nut crops that are being grown in Kashmir are walnuts and almonds. So pecan is exceeding both walnut and almond in the fat content, because in walnut we have a 64 to 65% fat content, and in almond we have 49 to 50% fat content. So pecan and pistachio are exceeding this content. And similarly, the pistachio is also having highest, protein content of 19%. So, so far as if I'll talk about the chestnut, I have discussed this thing that chestnut is mostly grown on the wastelands, areas where other fruit crops cannot be grown. We can grow chestnut, and this nut is having a very low fat content. I hope you remember it's 4% only. So this is actually helping this crop that we can store it at a moderate temperature without the problem of the rancidity. So is the hazelnut. This is also a very high energy and fat rich underutilized nut crop. This is also nutrient rich. And recently it has been made out from the University of Geneva, Italy, that texanus is a compound that is used for the cancer treatment. It's actually been recently identified in the hazelnut shells and the leaves. So it's true with pecan nut. It is also a very good underutilized fruit crop. It is a high energy and fat rich underutilized fruit crop. It has a high nutritive content, high vitamin C content. It has other very good medicinal and antioxidant benefits. So this is actually the potential that I have discussed. What are the potential that we are having in our major underutilized fruit crop that have been grown in Kashmir. But then what are the challenges with us? What we are not able to increase their potential, increase their production, increase their market? We'll try to understand that. So first of all, that is that we have a limited market demand because people are not aware about their economic potential. So we need to create awareness about their economic potential so that the market demand can be geared up. Very, as I have shown in the table, that very little area is under these crops. So there's a need that we need to evaluate these underutilized fruit crops in other areas to assess their potential. Climate sensitivity, maybe that these underutilized fruit crops that are being grown in Kashmir, they are sensitive at one place, maybe non-sensitive at other place. So what we can do in that case, that we need to expand this area if we have a specific underutilized crop. For example, as I said, that we have olive particularly confined in the Uri district. So we need to expand its area to other districts to make out that whether this olive is compatible, whether it's okay, whether it is adaptable in other areas of Kashmir also. And second most important, the fourth most important thing is that the quality planting material is not aware. We are not aware that how with what improved propagation methods we need to produce these underutilized fruit crops. And then we have insufficient infrastructure for the processing. For example, if we have to, olive is mainly known for its oil, and we need to have such processing factories or industries or infrastructure that can help us. We need to know the technology to just have the oil from such crops. And most important thing is that our underutilized fruit crops are having the competition with the major fruit crops, and we need to see that where we can fit them in the normal cultivation practices of the major fruit crops. So now, yes, how can we think that we should really go ahead? We need to now increase the production of the underutilized crop. We need to intervene in other areas. The first thing is the growing global demand. We know that most of the underutilized fruit crops, they are actually mostly, we can say, naturally grown or organically grown or grown with very low inputs. And most of our consumers and the people are now health conscious. So there can be a demand for such fruit crops. So diversification is very important because when we talk of climate change, then we talk about diversification. We talk about diversification within the fruit crop, diversification among the fruit crops. And yes, definitely we can say that underutilized fruit crops, they actually fit in the scenario of the diversification among the fruit crops, so that if a particular major fruit crops falls come to any climatic change threat, so the underutilized crop can come to the rescue, and this crop can fetch good price to the farmer. And yes, research and development is very much required, right from planting this underutilized crop till harvesting, till post harvest management, and then for the marketing as well. So we know that we already have some of the local value added products with us, but what are the scientific interventions? What are the technologies with which we can improve the shelf life of these value added products? We need to intervene in that. And cultural and traditional value. We know that such localized crops, such minor crop, they already have the rich heritage of a particular place. So I have tried to put some of the case studies here. So here we actually, in this cost, we have made some of the selections so far as Queens is concerned, and we have tried to evaluate these selections. These are the different production physicochemical parameters. Similarly, I have tried to collect the literature regarding the evaluation of the blueberry varieties, because we know that it's very difficult to grow berries because they have a specific soil requirement. So, but the people have evaluated these they have introduced these blueberry varieties, they have evaluated, and they have achieved good results. So all these tables are depicting the performance study of these blueberry varieties. So we have understood the potential, we have understood the opportunities. So how we have to go ahead now? The first and foremost thing is that we need to see that though there are so many underutilized fruit crops, but initially we need to focus on very few. We need to identify some of the specific underutilized fruit crops, and then we have to standardize their propagation technology, that which is the best method to propagate them. Then simultaneously we need to introduce some of the superior varieties of these underutilized fruit crops, and then we have to try to make the systematic organized plantation of these underutilized fruit crops, and then we have to standardize, we have to prepare a package of practices, right from planting, how we have to plant them, at what distance we have to plant them, does these underutilized crop need any training, pruning system, what are the different fertilizers that we can use, what are the different growth regulators, biostimulants by which we can improve their quality and yield, what are the maturity indices that we need to keep in mind while harvesting it, or how we can reduce their post harvest losses, because as we know that most of the berries, they have the very less shelf life, so we have to intervene in that part also. uh, Lastly, I can conclude that uh, most of our underutilized fruit crops, we know that they are going to help us. They are going to improve the socio-economic status of our farmers. They are going to improve the livelihood security of the people living in the Himalayas. And yes, definitely these underutilized fruit crops, they can help us in transforming the mountain economics, but provided we have the proper research, market linkage, and the policy support. And yes, I think definitely we can think of a sustainable future if we are going to change the scenario of these underutilized crops from neglected to the accepted ones. Thank you so much. I hope everybody was, attentive to hear this. I would like to hear some questions from anyone.
Thank you so much. Participants, please ask the questions.